So I'll just very quickly introduce the Volpower project to anyone who doesn't know yet. Volpower is an EU-funded research project which looks at the impact of volunteering on young adult lives across 7 EU countries, and those countries are Austria, Croatia, Italy, Malta, the Netherlands, Slovenia, and the UK. In particular, we've been investigating the themes of volunteering, migration, and social inclusion to look at the impact of each of these themes on diverse groups of young people. So in each partner country, we've been working with groups of young adult volunteers to share new experiences and learn new skills. We organised a summer training camp in Croatia in June 2019, where we had our volunteers from all different countries taking part in a digital skill building training session. And it was a great success. And all the volunteers had the chance to meet their peers from across Europe. And in each local country since then, we've organised Vol Hub activities within the country teams. And those are focused on creative arts activities, including photography and collage. And these were a lot of fun, as well as playing a key role in our research. So we plan to have another training event in Malta in April 2020, but this wasn't possible, of course, due to the COVID crisis. So we had to adapt our plans to deliver online activities. And those included a podcasting workshop, which we arranged with a colleague in Germany. And throughout the period, then Maggie has arranged for volunteers to contribute digital outputs, including photos and videos, which have then been reinterpreted by artists for this online exhibition. So a lot of work has gone into putting this event together, and I'm happy to see so many of you online to celebrate our Volpower project. I'm now going to hand over to Umut Korkut, who's the lead for the project, and he's going to talk in a bit more detail about the past 2 years of the project and how Maggie has set up this exhibition before we hand over to Maggie to introduce the various parts of the website and exhibition. Okay.
Thank you, Marcus. So I tend to be rather emotional when in this kind of instances, but this time I promise to keep my tears away. Right. So dear guests, good evening and welcome to Volpower Digital Exhibition Lounge. And welcome to our home city of Glasgow, even if this is a virtual visit. My name is Umut Korkut. I'm a professor of international politics at Glasgow School for Business and Society at Glasgow Caledonian University. So this exhibition was planned to take place in Rotterdam originally, but we're hosting you at your homes instead. I'd like to at least hope that this is more comfortable for you. And this way we can also host an international audience and crowd as our VIP guests this evening. Some more welcomes and thanks are due. First, I'd like to welcome obviously our Volpower volunteers to whom we owe so much for their engagement with us over the past 2 years, as well as our partner associations who hosted them during their volunteering activities. We'd like to thank them for their engagement with us. I'm also very honored to welcome the Volpower principal investigators from Austria, Dr. Ursula Reger, from South Tyrol, Italy, Dr. Andrea Carla, from Malta, Alex Hilly, from Slovenia, Romana Zajec, Croatia, Professor Senada Šedošević, and the Netherlands, Professor Peter Scholten, as well as their teams. So in total, we're a family of around 20 researchers in Volpower. We joined them as the Glasgow Caledonian University team, including myself, our 2 Glasgow and Edinburgh-based principal investigators, Doctors Fiona Skillen and Fiona Reid, as well as Marcus Nicolson as our project manager, and Doa Atala as our researcher and my assistant during the course of writing this project 3 years ago. I also would like to welcome our advisory board members tonight, George Thompson of Volunteers Scotland, Dr. Utur Erhard of Bilgi University Istanbul, Dr. Ada McGarry of Loughborough University, Professor Anne Harris of RMIT University Melbourne, as well as our colleagues from the WISE Institute for Social Research which hosts this project, Professor Sarah Cantillon and Professor Una Walsh. But above everyone else, I would like to welcome my colleague, Maggie Laidlaw, to whom we owe so much for this evening. She's the creator of this exhibition and the energy and the spirit we needed to deliver the Volpower project. Thank you very much, Maggie. So in brief, Volpower studies social inclusion in 7 different European sites, looking into volunteering experiences of young Europeans and migrants. For the past 2 years, around 35 young people took part in the Volpower project, organized and informed sports and arts related volunteering. It's a bit of a tongue twister, but the full name of Volpower is Enhancing Community Building and Social Integration through Dialogue and Collaboration amongst Young Europeans and Third Country Nationals. It is coordinated by a team based at Glasgow University, led by myself. Our project explores the contribution of volunteering in sports and creative arts and culture associations among EU and third country national youths. So the age group that we selected was from 18 to 27, to interaction and processes of integration and empowerment. So the project is funded by the European Union AMIF Fund, Asylum, Migration, Integration Fund. For 2 years, the project was conducted over more than 2 years in 7 EU geographical contexts. We have representatives from the European Commission among us this evening, and we hope to live up to their expectations as well. For this exhibition, we worked with artists based in Iran, Turkey, and Scotland, so the Volpower story actually went beyond the 7 countries that we selected, who will introduce themselves shortly along with their works tonight. Our artists were guided by Dr. Maggie Laidlaw, who is the curator of this exhibition, obviously, and were instructed to provide digital platforms from which the Volpower volunteers' own visual and textual poetry material provided through their volunteering journeys could be showcased. The artist's role here was to add richness to the ideas already woven through their volunteering works and to interpret and communicate them to a broad international public without overwhelming it with their own materials. As said originally, this exhibition was to take place in Rotterdam. However, we believe that having a virtual exhibition in the end served for us to generate an even more interesting and innovative exhibition. Our curator, Dr. Maggie Laidlaw, carried out a groundbreaking and pioneering role for creating this online exhibition. She worked with artists using online channels, digitized the material that young volunteers prepared in 7 different sites across Europe, and served as an in-betweener despite restraints amidst the pandemic. She has pushed the borders of curation and storytelling while keeping many across Europe engaged. We will be ever thankful to our dear Maggie. This is a truly pandemic-inflected but pandemic-capacitated exhibition and a show of how dire circumstances can trigger creativity. Before we start visiting this virtual exhibition, I would like to mention some of the findings from our project briefly in the fields of first, social inclusion, and second, volunteering. Integration of migrants has been a much contested concept that has received vigorous political and academic interest in my research and others. All throughout the Volpower project, we advocate the importance of compassion for and intimacy with the newcomer and the other in our societies to maintain social inclusion, particularly amidst crises. We reconceptualize the term integration in order to mitigate the challenges that the newcomers in our societies face and propose it as a mechanism of establishing solidarity with the other in our societies. As the artworks and poetry tonight will testify, young people look for intimacy with the wider society. We need to have societies that provide an intimacy between migrants as newcomers and their hosts in order to generate more inclusive societies. These intimacies are crucial so that newcomers and their hosts can develop common narratives that would define the future of their respective communities in our future societies. As the Volpower Consortium, we propose the following. Newly developed policies should avoid assumptions in the field of social integration. Policies should not be written according to an idealized image of society in policymakers' minds, but should be deliberately developed at the local level and address the whole of society. This would give the policymaker a more realistic and comprehensive picture of the newcomers and the wider society. For more sustainable solutions, both at the local and national level, integration strategies should be mainstreamed in the public policy making. Social integration, as a result, is a matter of experience. If people can create good experiences at local level and everyday life, we can expect more positive outcomes from such policies. The first welcome, interactions and experiences with society play a central role in the future integration of newcomers in their new host societies. We also have some findings from our project in terms of volunteering. I'm quoting the Volpower Youth Volunteering Policy Paper that my colleagues, Drs. Ursula Reger, Andre Karle, Heidi Flarer, Marie Lehner, and Astrid Mattes prepared last week. It will be made public shortly on our website. So in terms of volunteering, Volpower team suggests the following. The creditability of volunteering experience is important. Volunteering provides training for higher education and or professional purposes. It provides incentives to the volunteers. Policymakers should create favorable conditions for people to volunteer, such as government programs allowing people to take small amounts of time off from paid work for volunteering activities. In increasing the diversified societies, volunteering also intersects with migration issues in several ways. Hence, volunteering associations address diverse aspects of the phenomenon of migration, from support during the first reception of newcomers to assistance in processes of integration. Persons with a migrant background represent an important segment of the population, as well as a relevant part of the pool of potential youth volunteers. Volunteering experiences thus become a tool that sustains processes of integration and community building. We suggest that policymakers should support volunteering associations in their efforts to include newcomers by providing support for these organizations that are challenged by dealing with language problems, clarifying legal frameworks surrounding the involvement of migrants in volunteering, and providing financial aids for specific support. So without adding anything further, I would now like to welcome you to this great exhibition. I hope you will enjoy your time with us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Umut, and thank you for that introduction, and thank you for describing me as the energy and spirit. I don't think I've ever been described in that way before.
And our dear Maggie, on top of everything.
And my dear Maggie, yes. You always brought me to tears, so I'll try and compose myself. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. It's such an exciting time, and I'm so happy to see you all. This exhibition and all that it entails has been the most rewarding experience for me, and I don't want to cry, there we are. But before I just go into the exhibition and tell you a bit about it and how important it is, I would just like to thank a few people here. Firstly, to Umut and Marcus, who allowed me a free rein in designing this exhibition and its content. To Marcus for keeping me organised. I do not know what we would do without Marcus. And to Umut, who's such a supporter of the arts. It's like a dream job for me here. Thank you. I also want to quickly thank our web designer, Fulia, who's worked so hard over the last few weeks to make sure that everything's up and running for tonight's events. And also to the artists who came on board with us in late July last year. But my thanks go mostly to our volunteers, because without them, this exhibition would not be happening. And this is a celebration of them, and I'm so grateful for all their hard work and creative endeavours. They have engaged with my ideas actively and enthusiastically, even when at times they maybe did not understand what I was trying to achieve. So you may be asking what this exhibition is about. And first and foremost, it's a documentation of our volunteer stories expressed in a variety of creative forms. The young people in our project participated in a variety of activities that I had designed, but that built upon their skills training during this project and in relation to their volunteering. They created poetry, videos, collage and photography, and we'll get a chance to look at some of their direct contributions later on tonight. And why is this exhibition important? Well, I did have a big speech written, and then I sat and watched the presidential inauguration the other night and later rejoiced in the reactions in social media. It was heartwarming and enlightening to notice that despite the current celebrity status culture that we live in, social media went mad for a young woman's poetry. It wasn't Lady Gaga or J-Lo or Garth Brooks or even the boss Bruce Springsteen himself that most folks were touched or excited by. It was the poetic words of a young woman. And I thought, isn't this just wonderful and so pertinent to our exhibition here? And that's because art acts as a vehicle for allowing us to connect with one another, to find the similarities and shared experiences between us all, where we can empathise with one another, listening to a poem or a song and you recognise the words of the storyline and you feel moved emotionally by what you're experiencing. And creating art helps people produce the reality that they understand in their own words, in their own way, and helps others see something in that that they can relate to in their own lives, making those connections with one another. The creative reflective process of making also prompts something in the brain to work in a different way that can unlock new perspectives and forcing us to think differently, to imagine. And if we are keen to make better futures, which I think we all are, we need the ability and the confidence to imagine, to think differently. But this is a research project, and as a research method, art also has the ability to touch upon the difficult to get at aspects of research, those internal struggles that are also part and parcel of everyday life that almost go unnoticed, the hidden and sometimes overlooked thoughts that we have as we negotiate our way each day. And I have found that the creative methods such as those used in Volpower produce a different kind of data, that there are stories that emerge through creative engagement that may not emerge through more traditional forms of research methods. Within these creative methods, the data is generated through collaboration. It is often collectively produced by an exchange of ideas and experiences. And so it's important for us, and I don't just mean us here, but all of us everywhere, to hear each other's stories, to learn about one another, to connect and get to know each other. Because when we get to know each other better, we tend to treat each other better. So this collection of works is a collaboration of artists, academics, and the young people in our project, whose voices and experiences are narrated and shared in various creative forms that complement each other in a way that harness the spheres of community where dialogue takes place and where multiplicities of identity are experienced. I hope you will agree that it captures the role of art in breaking down language barriers and enabling people to truly connect with one another. Now I would like to introduce you to our amazing artists who helped us turn this event from a physical space to an online digital exhibition. The idea, of course, was to create an exhibition in Rotterdam, but COVID put a stop to that and we had to quickly decide to move our exhibition online. And our artists came on board and worked with the materials provided by our volunteers, weaving them into exciting visual and audio journeys that foreground the volunteers' everyday accounts of inclusion, migration, diversity and empowerment. Holly, Pantea and Ivo are going to say a few words about their works and their experiences of being part of the Volpower project. So please welcome Pantea from Studio Informal in Iran. Pantea, are you there?
Yes. Hello, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great, great. Thanks for the lovely notes. And I'm really, really happy to be a part of this project. It's been really great. And it's also great to see everyone here, especially the volunteers. I'm Panta, and this is Parsa. So we are part of the Studio Informal, which does audiovisual design. And I did the visual side of a couple of works, and Parsa did the music and the sound design. So when I started working on the project, I had the concept of time in mind. And having the experience of living in different continents, I knew how much our sense of time is dependent on our social relationships, on our place, the place that we live in, and how that sort of continuity gets fragmented when we move places. So when I went through the material, I felt I could really relate to some moments that we might experience every day in the most ordinary settings. But there's a lot to it. The feeling of belonging, accomplishment, doubt, and all those feelings that might be hard to describe, but I could feel through the photographs and the videos. And I was really struck by the collages in the beginning, but gradually the poetries found their way through. And I think the structure of the audiovisual pieces are based around the poems, basically, and also the notion of time. And yeah, so I really loved the honesty about the poems and the videos and all the material. And again, it's great to see everyone here, because I feel I've been having this kind of mutual experience and mutual feelings with a lot of people I don't know, but through working on these materials, I just made this connection. And also thanks a lot to Maggie, Umut, and Marcus for their support and also their trust into the process of making these works. Yeah, thanks. And by the way, we might have to leave early for this meeting because it will be quite late here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. So we're going to move now to Ivo, who is going to speak on behalf of himself and Alper, who worked together on some of our materials, and they're from Turkey. Hi, Ivo.
Hello, hi, Maggie. Thank you so much for organizing this amazing event. I'm very happy to be here. Unfortunately, my colleague Alper, the other person, we were two people that produced the videos for the project. He's going to be running a little late. He's filming a mini-series right now. I spoke to him just like 10 minutes ago or something. He's going to really try to make it, but right now you'll just have to bear with me. So I've prepared, Alper sent me a note that I'm going to read out about the project, but beforehand, I just want to share my own thoughts and my own experiences in this endeavor. Firstly, it's the first time I've worked on a EU project on this scale. So for me, it was quite exciting and also interesting. And it was also the first time I actually worked with Alper, my colleague, which is really strange because he works 2 rooms down from where I work in my office, you know, and we've always wanted to do something together. And this was like the perfect opportunity. So it was just a happy coincidence that everything came together. And our initial idea was that we wanted to prepare these 1-minute kind of snapshots or these 1-minute Insta stories from the content that we received. And that was our original plan. We called it Insta documentaries, and was something that we do actually at my university. And it was something that maybe we said we could use. But, you know, strangely enough, when we got into the content and when we started working with the collages, with the videos, with the pictures, we kind of went beyond everything. And I really like where we ended up. And I think that there were 3 points which kind of really struck me as somebody that was participating in the project, both as an artist and also as somebody that was just observing the entire process. The first thing was that there was this, I know, for me at least, there was this strange beauty of working with content captured by people that I've never met. And, you know, this was something that Pantea just also emphasized. And, you know, it's a strange feeling because at one point you start to gain a sort of intimacy with, you know, the people and, you know, who you're trying to make these videos around. And you start writing these mental stories about who they are, their mental characters. So I'm very curious to see if how we imagined or how we thought, you know, the Volpower volunteers were, if it kind of matches up in our videos, you know. So this was the first thing. It's a strange thing, you know, to like work in this kind of a context. And the second was that, you know, we're in a strange situation where, you know, in the midst of a global pandemic, and as such, you know, being stuck at home, being stuck under lockdown, the curfew begins here in Istanbul in an hour from now, for instance, you know. It just gives you this strange feeling of existentiality, you know, of, you know, where you are, you know, who you are as a human being, where your life is going. And when we're producing these, you know, these videos, I think the key kind of notion that we had when we were speaking with Alper in our discussions was the question that we asked ourselves at first, and I think kind of shows also, we try to emphasize this in the videos, was if we had 1 minute to record about various aspects of our life right now, what would we choose? And I think this was like kind of the theme or the idea that we had, you know, and it kind of all works. I think it was how, you know, the context of, you know, working with, you know, work by people that we have never met before, and also being stuck in this, pandemic context. So these were the things that really struck me as an artist and as a participant. And as a final, I don't want to take too much time because I have to read Alper's note also. I really would like to take the opportunity to thank the Volpower team for giving me and Alper the opportunity to be a part of such a great undertaking. It's really been a great pleasure working with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ivo.
And now I'm going to read Alper's note that he prepared. So Alper, this is what he's saying. So I was involved in a number of NGO governed art and media projects before. The projects that I participated before Volpower as instructor, supervisor, or media creator was also built upon the idea of diversity and mutual understanding of humankind. However, Volpower project was a unique experience for me as we are all experiencing a global pandemic. Although the poems, photographs, and videos that we use in our work were created just before the pandemic, the editing and narrative process was largely affected by the physical and psychological state that has been formed by this ongoing and odd period. It was a unique experience that surely will shape my future projects. To work with the images, sounds, and texts and videos that are created by volunteers, which I never met before, was of course quite a challenge. Still, the clarity of the purpose of the project and the insights that are given by the facilitators and directors of Volpower were more than enough to help fill these spatial and temporal gaps. In this context, I spent considerable time to understand the core of the assets. The poems helped me a lot to construct that framework for the narrative. After constructing this framework, the visual materials such as photographs, videos, and collages started to appear as they never appeared before. I can say that the content of the materials started to expose themselves and found their places naturally as I started to edit. Finally, I hope this state of emergency that we're experiencing in a global scale will enable us to understand that nothing will change unless we decide to change the things. In this sense, I can say that this project became more meaningful in these circumstances. These works are concrete demonstrations of the power of volunteering and collaboration. I believe the future will be shaped by these good hands. I would like to thank Marcus Nicolson, Professor Umut Korkut, and Dr. Maggie Laidlaw for letting me be part of this valuable project. Thank you. So that was Alper.
Thank you, Ivo, and thank you, Alper. It's been great working with you. So we'll just swiftly move on to our final artist and hear from her. So Holly, are you there?
Hello.
Hi, Holly.
Hi. Hi, Maggie. Thanks very much. I'm Holly, and I have created an interactive map which has got 6 short animated videos inside it. Thank you very much for inviting me to this event, and thank you so much, Volpower volunteers, for trusting me with your amazing work. I feel really lucky to have got to see the things that you've created, and I really enjoyed putting them together into a website and animations. I knew from the start that I would be making an interactive map because Volpower is all about connecting across different places, but the videos themselves really came from the volunteers' work and trying to find shared themes or images or ideas that connect across different groups. And I've used some traditional and some digital types of animation to kind of bring these together into the short films. They've each got their own little style, but across all of them, I've tried to focus on your words and images and not overwhelm it with what I've been doing. So hopefully I've got a balance, and hopefully I really wanted to celebrate the energy and the emotion and the kind of sense of hope and reflection and love and care for other people that the volunteers have managed to capture in their work, which has just been so wonderful to work with. So yeah, thank you so much Maggie and Umut and Marcus and volunteers. And yeah, it's been great. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. So thanks to all of our volunteers, and you've heard a bit of background about their work. So now we're going to, well, I'm going to attempt to lead you through the exhibition via screen share on Zoom. So let's all hope that the technology gods are shining on us. So just give me a minute till I do a screen share, and I'll take you to our wonderful digital exhibition. And you can let me know if you can see it. Right. Are you all seeing this? Okay. Yes. So the first artist we're going to go to, who we've just heard from, is Holly. And Holly talked about our interactive map. And I was going to say something about it, but Holly's just described it so well. So we'll just go straight in. So Holly had created 6 videos that are embedded in this map. It's interactive, and it's been created so it's a map, and it can be accessed from anywhere in the world. So we'll start with I'm going to let you see all of the video works tonight. So here we go.
I am blue like an ocean. I hear singing of birds. I want to be here forever. I am blue like an ocean. I feel like you're here grasping my hand. I worry not to fall. I remember walking around building a foggy winter morning. I am blue like an ocean. I understand life is beautiful. I say love can cure every discomfort. I dream of a nest. I hope you find love. I am blue like an ocean.
Is everyone seeing and hearing the videos okay? Okay, so we'll move on. As you can see, Holly, we've been using the videos and the photography and the poetry from our volunteers and created these animated videos. So I'll just carry on with them all and let you see them.
Walk, walk. Do I sleepwalk? It's early, but it's dark. Do I freak out when I feel the crowd? Or hear the silence when it's loud? Think, the scene is blue and you have no clue, but walking again, till I see the truth. Confused by the real. Footsteps thinking stop. Walking. No need to ask, like they know the road and go how they feel. You know, it's fun to be the blue one, who leaves the moon instead of the sun.
Dawn pairs with tranquility, so often making me restless, as such mornings promise order, but become absurd so easily. Slowly my mind befriends confusion, for the thoughts they multiply. Where should I go now, under this immensely blue sky? How can I know what to do, what sort of dreams to pursue? For all around I see such beauty, all around I see such pain. Pain is in beauty and beauty in pain. Is my search of harmony truly in vain? Are the rocks and grass just tears in stone of people failing to love and left alone? Give me a sign, apparent or small. Help me find my power again. For I know somehow that I can. sink into it all like a waterfall. A waterfall I'd like to be, for it's wild and pure, you see, never ending to hold and kiss the thighs of this earth's abyss.
I am lovable, I am fearless, and I am me. I wonder where we go when we fall asleep. I hear me a lot. I hear myself constantly telling myself to push through the stress. I see me in 5 years, comfortable, not too rich, not too poor. Me? I put my headphones on and pretend to listen to music, but I am listening to people talk. I feel great, not happy, not sad. I touch the frozen heart of life. I remember being left to watch myself grow at age 2. I understand things don't always work my way, but I work my way through things. Me? I say the moments I spend feeling sad can be spent looking for happier moments. I dream that I will become something and make myself proud, fulfilling my social obligations, reflecting friendship in my actions, and becoming happier through this. I am me.
Only human. I am only human, wanting to love, to experience, to feel more than we are taught. I often wonder, is there a place under the sun for us, hopeless lovers and seekers of the life? How to say everything that is on my mind? How to put all the love into words? It gets hard having so much on my mind, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. How incredible it is to be a human.
I am funny when I'm happy. I wonder about my tomorrows. Will I be happy then too? Every day I hear my father's voice and I see my father's face. Happiness, a happy and healthy family with the freedom and security. I am funny when I'm happy and I feel free when I'm playing football. I touch the hearts of my close ones. Happiness, but pretend, but real. I worry that I will be failure in life, but then I recall my father's voice. He always told me everything will be alright. I'm most useful when I'm happy. Everything happens for a reason, they say. I now understand that to be true. I believe there's a light at the end of every tunnel. I try not to listen to the negative voices in my head, and I hope to make my mother proud. I'd like to think I will. I'm a dreamer and achiever when I'm happy.
Thank you, Holly, for that map. I just love it. So everyone can go back on the website and check it out for themselves. But we're going to move on because we've got a really tight schedule to Hantia's studio Informal works, and we'll start with our first one, which is All the Ways, and it combines imagery from the Volpower volunteers in the form of video diaries. With representation of a non-linear clock. And the use of sound and image explores the temporal context of diaspora such as the flows and stills as mentioned in Asia's poem in this video.
Hi, my name is Asia De Lorenzi, and I'm from the Italian group of Volpower. All the ways. I am changeable like the wind. I wonder about stillness, about the rooms that never get rearranged, about the luggage that has never traveled anywhere, about the eyes that don't feel the urge to see something different from what they've seen before. How do they do that? I want to escape boredom and routine, the comfortable glove of settling, that cuddles many and lets go of few. I am changeable like the wind. While pretending to be satisfied with being still, I feel shivers and tickles. Time appears untouchable, and I worry my hands will never be able to hold it. The memory of most past days has already faded. I am changeable like the wind. Understanding that chances life offers are countless, I say, go for it. I am changeable like the wind. Dreaming about a continuous flow of intense adventures, like a long chain of fresh fruits to be eaten. I am changeable like the wind. I try to never stop moving, even when the old glove comes back to get me. I am changeable like I hope I'll be able to blow away all obstacles gently and continue the ride until I can. I am changeable like the wind. I hear the sound of all the different possibilities, clashing like waves meeting the reef, overlapping and mixing up as they bounce back in you. I am changeable like the wind. I see a million shapes, a million colors, a million situations, a million lives. Which one is mine? What is right for me to pick? Do I really have to pick?
Studio Informal's next video is called I Am, and I think it takes a title from the poetry exercises that the volunteers will engage with. And this uses collage as a starting point and explores the concept of time, particularly in the temporality of experiences as a means of social coordination.
I am strong and confident, but I wonder about my decisions and what they mean. I hear laughter as music, like a string to the soul. I see courage lurking within the shadows, and I see the dancer that I aspire to be, because I am strong and confident, pretending to be the greatest of all time, but in the shadows lurks a little weakness, and I push myself and stretch to reach those stars in my dreams. Is that too much? Judging myself too harshly? Then I remember who I am. I am strong and confident, and those opinions are my own. Each to their own, I say. I keep on dreaming for that day. Success. I succeed all expectations, the best version of myself. I am strong, I am confident.
I am awake in the middle of the night, wondering why. I hear a loud noise of silence. I see you. I want to hug away those shadows. There's a dark hue in all those colors. The blue of the deepest ocean, and yellow of the sunflower, the lilac of lavender fields of the unspoiled white jagged walls up the mountains. I am awake in the middle of the night. Then listen. I feel so very full of emptiness. I touch your soul, stroke your cheeks. I worry about us. Just nothing celebrates. I am awake in the middle of the night. Understanding the light is a mystery and our hands are tied. All is happy.
The last video from Studio Informal is called Togetherness. And this video work explores the notion of inclusion, specifically the notion of individuality within a social context.
Walk. Do I sleepwalk? It's early, but it's dark. Do I freak out when I feel the crowd? Or hear the silence when it's loud? Think, the scene is blue and you have no clue, but walking again, till I see the truth. Confused by the real. Do my footsteps thinking stop? Or keep walking? No need to ask, like they know the world and go how they feel. You know, it's fun to be the blue one who leaves the moon instead of the sun.
So that's the, hi, Umut, do you want to say something?
No, actually, I was clapping.
Oh, you're thank you. So that's the first half of our exhibition. I hope you all enjoyed it. I just think it's the works are thrilling, and they've captured the volunteer, our young people in our projects, videos and poetry and photography just so well in all sorts of different ways. It's just so exciting to see it all come together in this way. So I think I'm going to hand over to Marcus, and we're going to have a short break. And in the second half, we're going to hear from our volunteers from their podcasts and recordings. And then we'll see the second half of our exhibition, which is Ivo and Ivo's work. And then you'll get an opportunity to see the direct contributions from our young people, because we've included that in our exhibition too. So the exhibition page has 2 pages. One is the artist's work and one is the volunteers' direct work. So you'll see their collection of poetry, their videos, and the photography. You can have a look through and see what the artists had to work with, but also how these individual contributions came together or come together to tell a story and make connections with us all. So we've got, I think we've a couple of minutes early. I think we can have a 10-minute break, Marcus, or 15 minutes.
Marcus, may I intervene just a second? It's Fátima Velez from the European Commission. And I would just like to congratulate everyone for a wonderful job. And also the opportunity to, because this COVID situation brought many restrictions, but in fact also allowed me, for example, to participate in this event and to have a first-hand feedback and reaction. So it looks very good. And we look forward also to being able to disseminate some of this content in our European Commission social media. So it is a very good result. My congratulations to everyone for the good job, and also for managing to keep up on schedule and being able to continue all the work even in these strange conditions, and also for keeping up the volunteering and the participation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fátima. If I may say something as well, I mean, we also would like to thank you for being ever so accommodating, especially our project officer. She's been working with us over the clock. As you can imagine, and as everyone around the table can imagine, it is a tremendously difficult work at the moment to handle an international project. And European Commission has been the most accommodating to go through amendments, agreeing with all our suggestions, and then giving us really the due intention and the value. So we feel ourselves really, really valued by the European Commission, and we really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think we're now set up for a slightly over 10-minute break before we start back, which will be 6:10 here in the UK. And then Maggie will continue with the podcast and the second part of the exhibition. So thanks, and we'll take a 10-minute break. Okay, I think people are slowly rejoining again. Just to recap, this second part, Maggie's going to introduce some of the podcasts that we made with our volunteers, and some that they've prepared specially for tonight from different teams. And she's going to introduce them briefly before we listen to them, and then later the last part of the exhibition, including those videos from Ivo and Alper. And then we'll run through a quick Q&A before we wrap up. So Maggie, do you want to go ahead and start with the podcast?
Yes, I'll just hold up, I'll screen share. Okay, fine. Just to get my notes about everyone here. Okay, as as you're all aware, and as we've mentioned a couple of times, a number of our planned activities in 2020, including those relating to our youth parliament, had to be postponed due to the impact of COVID-19. But we were eager to find ways to engage with our volunteers online. And in early November 2020, Marcus and I organised 3 podcast training workshops with our volunteers from across Europe with our German colleague, Barbara Weidman. And so this evening, some of our volunteers will present their most recent podcasts and one video from our creation group, narrating their journeys as volunteers, as members of their communities, and as members of Volpower. So first up, we've got a podcast from Leo from Glasgow. He's one of our Glasgow Volpower volunteers. And Leo is going to talk about his journey from his home country in Somalia to his new home in Glasgow. And in his podcast, Leo tells us about his experiences both as a volunteer sports coach with Achieve More Scotland and as a member of Volpower Glasgow. Leo is actively and enthusiastically engaged with our Volpower creative activities here in Glasgow and was one of the volunteers who attended the podcast training workshop. Outside of volunteering, Leo studies sports coaching and development at Clydebank College. And as you'll get to hear in a minute, I think he's got a real niche for himself in podcasting because he's taken to it very well. So this is Leo.
Hi everyone, my name is Abdul Mohammed and I volunteer with Volpower Scotland. On this podcast, I'd like to share a little bit about myself and my experience as a volunteering. I was born in Somalia to a middle-class family. So growing up, it wasn't easy because we had to move quite a lot, looking for better life. We went to Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Kenya, Ethiopia, all looking for better life until we came to UK. Where I'm from, the UK is kind of a big deal because only the lucky ones get the opportunity to come here. But it wasn't like I imagined in my head. Matter of fact, nothing like I imagined in my head. From the weekend days to lifestyle difference, but time went by, I got used to it. Going to school wasn't easy because I've never been to school. So waking up in the morning to go to school, sitting in the classroom was new to me. And the fact that I never spoke English other than hi or hello, yes or no. Then after a couple of years, I started volunteering with Achieve More Scotland. I started working with young kids, becoming a coach and doing what I love to do, which is playing football. And then through Achieve More Scotland, I got the opportunity to work with Volpower Scotland. In the beginning, I wasn't sure, but I wanted to do something that I've never done before. And I like the idea of Volpower Scotland. Then I met Marcus and Maggie, who I think are one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. And everyone else that I met, I can't name all of them, but such amazing people. What I've learned while volunteering is the fact that it's okay to be different, that I don't need to fit in, I don't need to change myself in order to be accepted, and that it's okay to be myself, because that's something I've struggled with. Growing up, when I was young, I just wanted to fit in, because we all want to fit in, get accepted, even if that means changing ourselves, even if that means not staying true to ourselves. So volunteering helped me develop my self-esteem as I met people that really cared for me, people that were genuine, people that wanted the best for me. So I think the best thing that's ever happened to me was having the chance to volunteer, because I believe it changed my life. I believe I'm in a better place than I was before, and all of that is due to volunteering and meeting amazing people and getting outside of my box, doing something that I've never done before. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Leo. That's only the second podcast that Leo has made. So, I think he's got a real talent for doing that. I think he's going to make some more. Next, we have our Slovenian team, and Neva is going to introduce it. Neva is one of our Volpower volunteers in Slovenia, in Ljubljana, and she's going to introduce our next podcast, where she'll explain it in the context of Volpower, diversity and inclusion, and it's about rituals. Neva, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. Okay, thank you, Maggie. Well, as one of Volpower's volunteers from the Slovenian group, I think that this volunteering experience gave us all, the volunteers from Slovenia, a big space for expression and intercultural interaction. I think we've all managed to express our individual selves quite freely, I would say. But thinking about the concept of inclusion, especially in such a diverse group with individuals from completely different culture and social backgrounds. We had, Turkey, Eritrea, and Ethiopia, Slovenia, Myanmar. Well, it made me think about the concept of rituals. And this cultural feature of rituals in our society, it's a really important element that's definitely kept us as a group somehow connected throughout the whole project. Especially the ritual of sharing traditional food, which really became a sort of inclusion facilitator. And this is where we got this idea to make this little podcast where Marcos and we reflect on rituals that are dear to us and give us character and represent an amazing socialization tool. So.
Thank you, Neva. So I'll play this podcast now. Thanks so much for that.
Of course, my pleasure.
Hello, my name is Andrea, and today we're going to talk about rituals. Rituals are a feature of all known human societies. They include not only the worship rites and sacraments of organized religions and cults, but also rites of passage, atonement and purification rites, dedication ceremonies, coronations and presidential inaugurations, marriages, funerals, and more. Even common actions like handshaking and saying hello may be termed as a ritual. Daily rituals are an inevitable part of our own cosmos. With practicing daily rituals as washing our teeth, making coffee, having a walk, watching favorite TV show on particular day of the week, we are making sense out of the day. We are making cosmos out of chaos that surrounds us. Special rituals, like having dinner with friends, birthday celebrations, going to travel, etc., are occasions that break the routine of daily life and satisfy our higher needs. Now we'll hear Neva and Marcos telling us something about their ritual, personal and cultural one.
Hello, my name is Neva, and I would like to say a few words about the importance of rituals. So rituals have great power because we give thought to them, we take time for them, and we create a special place for them. Therefore, I believe that they increase the quality of our lives. I am practicing rituals coming from 3 different directions in my life mostly. One is my cultural heritage, then my family heritage, and then my own lifestyle that I have created in the past few years. My cultural heritage, for example, gives me the practice of celebrating Christmas with my family. This is where we reunite, where we give attention to each other, and
over and over again understand how family time is important. Then let's say my family heritage gave me a few lovely rituals to practice. One is bedtime stories. So my parents were reading bedtime stories to me until I was 14 years old, and this is what increased my imagination, and this is how I think I learned to look at life from maybe a few different angles. Another ritual that I cherish a lot is how my mom taught me to create a beautiful space for friends. Each Sunday she organized a Sunday breakfast with friends where she invited people over, and this is where we just spent time eating delicious food and exchanging experiences. Let's say that one of the most important rituals coming from my family is the one where we sang and did music with my parents. This is how I have my singing abilities. A ritual that I have created myself during the past few years is the one where I learned to stop, to breathe, to stretch my body, to self-reflect, but also say very, very nice things to myself. And this is how I can see all the beautiful things that happen in my life, and this is how I'm grateful for living, and therefore more happy to be able to exist on this planet. So now I would like to give a few words to Marcos to say something about his favorite rituals.
Today we're going to speak more about Ethiopian coffee ceremony. So how people are gathering, how they drink coffees in Ethiopian culture. So Ethiopian coffee ceremonies mostly take around 1 hour process. In this process, you will see everything on process from green coffees to a roasted, grinded, until it's come to your cup, So until you see all the process in the coffee ceremony. So it will take 1 hour and 1 hour 30 minutes maximum. So in the culture of Ethiopian coffee ceremonies, they drink it with people. So like if I make coffee today at my place, so I invited to my neighbors, my friends, families together. So it's more to socialize. The coffee ceremony more connected to socialize and to speak, to know each other better, like your neighbors or your friends or your family. So there going to be a lot of different topics on coffee ceremonies, a lot of creations, a lot of music. So it's not just coffee, it's also some social life, meeting new people on the coffee also can be. So these coffee ceremonies is very old, it's almost 1,000 years old. This is more or less the Ethiopian coffee ceremonies look like, but if you need more detailed pictures and detail how it look like, you can Google in YouTube by writing Ethiopian coffee ceremonies, then you will find more history about it. Thank you very much. I appreciate everyone who will listen to this, and have a good day. Bye.
Thank you, Niva and Marcos and Andrea from our Slovenian team in Ljubljana. That was really great. And thank you for introducing that, Niva. I appreciate that.
Of course, thank you.
Yeah. So now we have a podcast from our Italian team in South Tyrol. And Asia and Anna and Valentina are three of our volunteers there, and they're going to describe their understandings of volunteering through a word composition using the letters that spell out Volpower. So I'll just, Asia is going to introduce it. So we've got quite a lot of different podcasts. Here we are.
Volunteering is different for everyone. The way we experience our story is very different. But in Volpower, you have the chance to bring your point of view together with the ones of other volunteers. All our experiences are shared, but not merged, so that everyone's story remains valuable and worthy to be heard. Valentina and Anna gave their own idea of their Volpower experience with word compositions. Can you find anything that resonates with you? Let's hear them.
Volpower wie V, volle Kanne, all in. O wie ohne Angst, without fear. L wie lustig, funny. B wie fantasievoll, visionary. O wie alle miteinander, all together. W wie Weichen stellen, to set the course. E wie engagiert,
dedicated. Wie reich an Erfahrungen, rich in experiences. For me, Volpower is V come valigia, suitcase, O come oltre I confini, beyond the borders, L come legami, connections, P come punti di vista, points of view, O come occasione, occasion, W come wow, E come entusiasmante, exciting, e R come ricordi, memories.
So thank you to our Volpowers from South Tyrol, who gave us quite an innovative podcast there about what volunteering means to them. And next we've got a video actually from our Volpower team in Zagreb in Croatia. And Ilma is going to introduce this next one. The volunteers here are part of a forum theatre group who write, rehearse and perform theatre sketches in schools and youth groups in their local communities. And I'm going to let Ilma tell you a bit about what their forum theatre is and what they do. Ilma.
Hi, I'm here. So hello everyone, my name is Ilma and I'm from Croatian team, and I will tell you something about what we did. So our group, Laidlaw, Larissa, Anissa and me, over the last 2 years we did forum theater workshops. And if you didn't know what is that about, I will tell you something. So forum theater is actually a theater game with rules in which there is an unresolved problem presented to the audience, and they are invited to suggest, or if they want, they can act a potential solution. Everything actually revolves around the conflict which they are trying to solve. And acting is going on, and then when the conflict is about to happen, everything freezes, and the audience is then invited to participate and tell their idea. If the conflict isn't resolved with that, we start from the middle and try new ideas they suggest. And sometimes the conflict is solved, sometimes they don't, but everything actually depends on what kind of idea they propose. The things we talked the most are from the area of the culture, tolerance, and the oppression in the society. We acted about the things that actually happens every day in our life, and with a purpose. We had a goal to expand the understanding and prevention actually of such situations, and also to encourage many to think about that and to participate in their prevention. We had a great team. We had 15 students who joined us, and they all wanted to act, and they all really did their best, and even more than that. They put a lot of effort and time, because we meet 2 times a week, and they're a really great team. And we were all into it. They also enjoyed it. We also had our final performance, but hopefully not last, because everyone really liked it. And we tried to edit a little video from our rehearsals, and don't judge our editing skills, please. But I want you all to see how we acted, and we all had fun, learned something new, gain new friendship, and all that while resolving and talking about issues in everyday life. And sorry that the video is in Croatian, because we acted in Croatian, but I hope you all get our message. That's it.
Thank you, Ilma. The Croatian group was one of the ones that I was privileged enough with Marcus and Umut to go and meet. And we met them in the space that they do their rehearsals, and I'm so excited because I really love forum theatre. I think it's a really valuable art form in communities and can make a lot of difference. So I think this is clips of your rehearsals, and I think there's some bloopers in there as well. But thank you for sending this.
Very weird. Nikad me ne pozoveš na neku večeru, mi apsolutno ne.
Nećemo te zvati na večeru na kojom ljudi ne dolaze bez žena. Kako sada da budeš jedina moja žena?
Može li?
Ok, više se ne desplati se. Vratite malo pitko. Sjetim se na diču općinu po međunarodnoj različite u auto vozi. Haji Haji Razibegović. Hej! Jel ti bilo lijepo kad ste bili slušali? Tebi govori. Ti, migrant jedan. Odakle si došla, tamo si radi. Znaš? Dobro, ali što? Ako vam ne odgovara, šut! Čekaj, ti nije dosta, je. Ajde, dosta. Čovjek, nisu svi muslimani. Nego, skidaj tu maramu i gubi se iz busa, ajde. Došli smo dobro. U trenutku neke publike predloži. Šta publika predloži? Nešto što mi nismo isplanirali i... Zakarija. Zakarija. Kući i svi. Dobro, je on jedan. Bilo je prije ovaj. Hvala. Ne znam kako. Onda se samo različiti u vjeru. To bi bilo sve za večeras. Vidjeli ste sjajne izvođače, još gore izvedbe. A sada bi bilo to sve od nas. Ostanite uz naš program. Hvala lijepo.
Thank you, Ilma. Thank you all for all the team in Volpower, Zagreb. You're all amazing. So our very last podcast is by another of our Glasgow Volpower volunteers, and his name is Maggie. And he also volunteers for Achieve More Scotland. And Maddie's actually progressed from being a volunteer to a part-time employee. And he too concentrates on football coaching, but he also leads school children in other sports activities. And as a volunteer, Maddie was actually awarded Volunteer of the Year by Achieve More. And like Leo, Maddie also travelled from his home country in Somalia to Glasgow when he was a young teenager. So this is Maddie's.
Hello, hi, my name is Maddie. I'm 24-year-old. I live in Scotland. I moved here when I was 12-year-old with my family, and I really love it. I like my country as well, even though I can't really remember much about it. Because like before I moved here, like I had another long journey to different African countries, like before I moved to Scotland. So I think I was 5 when I left my country. But yeah, maybe I'd love to go back to it, like maybe later in life. Because right now there are wars, like there's still like some civil wars going on down there. But when the right time comes and it's peace, I'll go back there. But right now I'm enjoying here. Everything's good about it, except for the weather. Like it's been snowing lately. Sometimes it's raining like 24/7, which is horrible. But other than that, what I do for a living is I'm a sports coach. Like I work as a schools, like primary schools, working with children, like PE, like with the level sessions. And I do it with Achieve More Scotland. And through Achieve More Scotland, I meet with Volpower people, Maggie. That's how I went to Croatia with Volpower. And I had a really good experience in Croatia. I met with so many new people from different countries, and they were really nice. And I was involved with sessions, like we had so much fun. It was summertime as well. I would say it was one of my best 5 days in my life, I would say, because over the last few years, like I've been in Scotland, so it was a new experience to go to another European country, especially summertime when it's like too hot. I really liked it, and the majority of people in Croatia, they speak English as well, which helped.
So I'm just going to stop that for a moment. That was Maddie's. So I think that was more than five of our volunteers that created podcasts for us. So it was nice to hear from them all and hear the different ways that they responded to creating these podcasts and recordings. I'm going to take this off. Hopefully, yeah, here we are. So that I can now hopefully share the rest of the exhibition with you all. I think we're actually doing all right for time. We're not, well, we're a little run over, but we had more podcasts than we thought. So we're going to quickly go back to our exhibition and see the second half, which is Ivo and Alper's works. And these are based on their original ideas of these Instadocs that they'd created. And all of these, Ivo and Alper created 7 videos for us. 6 of them are created to work with our Instagram page, so they're 60 seconds or less in length. So we'll be able to share them on Instagram too. And the videos are built on the creative efforts of the Volpower participants. By articulating assorted content pieces, they try to comprehend and reflect the notion of medium specificity and collaborative storytelling. And the main idea of these video works is to treat them as discrete yet interconnected elements which are produced during Volpower workshops. So I'm going to share the screen again and we'll go to second half of our exhibition. So this is the first one called Blue Like an Ocean. And because these videos are less than 60 seconds or less, there's not enough room to put the credits on, so the credits are all written beside them. So this poem is by Fátima and it's called Blue Like an Ocean.
I am blue like an ocean. I hear the singing of birds. I want to be here forever. I am blue like an ocean. I feel like you're here grasping my hand. I worry not to fall. I remember walking around feeling a foggy winter morning. I am blue like an ocean. I understand life is beautiful. I say love can cure every discomfort. I dream of a nest. I hope you find love. I am blue like an ocean.
This is an interpretation of Serena's poem Blue Talk Again, but using a different set of images.
Walk, walk. Do I sleepwalk? It's early, but it's dark. Do I freak out when I feel the crowd? Or hear the silence when it's loud? Think, the scene is blue and you have no clue, but walking again, till I see the truth. Confused by the real. My footsteps thinking stop, or keep walking. No need to ask, like they know the road and go how they feel. You know, it's fun to be the blue one, who leaves the moon instead of the sun.
This video, Humanity, was inspired by Anissa's poem and through a video that was created by Asia in South Tyrol from the Volpowers when they were in Zagreb. So this is Humanity.
I'm taking a lot of stuff, but I'm just going to make it short, it's all about humanity.
I am only human, wanting to love, to experience, to feel more than we are taught. I often wonder, is there a place under the sun for us, hopeless lovers and seekers of the light? How to say everything that is on my mind? how to put all the love into words. It gets hard having so much on my mind, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. How incredible it is to be a human.
Let me just say, it's about humanity. Understand people and make sure you go along with them. Even if they don't understand you, try to understand them and let them understand you at the same time.
This is inspired by Amra's poem, A Bubble of Happiness. That's me.
I am a bubble of happiness. I wonder, where does the happiness come from? I hear people's laughter. I see people smiling. I want to understand, why are they smiling? What are they happy about? But now I understand, where does the happiness come from? I say it comes from your inside. I am a bubble of happiness.
And this is Mofi's poem, Blissful, and Mofi's one of our volunteers in Glasgow too. Hopefully.
I am lovable, I am fearless, and I am me. I wonder where we go when we fall asleep. I hear me a lot. I hear myself constantly telling myself to push through the stress. I see me in 5 years, comfortable, not too rich, not too poor. Me, I put my headphones on and pretend to listen to music, but I am listening to people talk. I feel great, not happy, not sad. I touch the frozen heart of life. I remember being left to watch myself grow at age 2. I understand things don't always work my way, but I work my way through things. Me, I say the moments I spend feeling sad can be spent looking for happier moments. I dream that I will become something and make myself proud. Fulfilling my social obligations, reflecting friendship in my actions, and becoming happier through this. I am me.
And this one is the last of Eva and Alper's videos. This one is a little longer than the 60 seconds, and this is called Communion, and it's inspired by Maggie's poem. So I know we've gone through the exhibition artworks quite quickly, and I hope you will all find time to return and take a wander through at your leisure. We're going to, I'm going to lead you through quite quickly through the volunteers' work. So this section, can you all see it okay? Yeah. This section allows you to browse through the volunteer direct creative contributions. They are all the materials that our artists worked with to produce the videos you have just seen. And there are temporal elements to all of these creative activities that our young people engaged with. And they're witnessed within the aspect of the everyday, but also within the processes of learning, belonging, and inclusion. And as I said earlier, some of the activities were photography, poetry, video, and we also did some collage in Glasgow. So these are our photographs, and the volunteers were invited to contribute photographs responding to various weekly concepts. So the place around me, me and my, could be family, friends, favourite things, my skills, what makes me happy, diversity, inclusion, and also thinking about Volpower. So the photographic images which this exhibition, within this exhibition, resonate with and transport the viewer to a moment in their own lives. And the viewer is invited to process each image independently and then connect the multiple images into a cohesive storyline. The relationship of all the images to each other provide the overall context of diversity, inclusion, and empowerment in depicting the everyday lives, interests, and journeys of the young people in our project across various social and cultural borders. I think while we go through the photographs, I would just like to say something about the poetry that you'll also find in this section. And you'll be able to read through all the poetry created throughout the Volpower project. Our volunteers were invited to engage with creative poetry writing. They were offered a guidance and an exercise titled I Am. Some of our more experienced poets created their own poetic concepts. And although a lot of the volunteers all kind of worked from the same exercise, it might be assumed that volunteers are writing from the same exercise that would produce a very similar poem, but this is not the case. Our volunteers are writing from their own experiences and in the first person, and their poems are therefore unique, allowing the personal experiences spoken by our young people themselves to reveal the purposeful public nature of their volunteering, while also reflecting the overlapping multiplicities of identity connecting to the self and to others. There's also a section in this part of the exhibition that shows the video montages created by our young people. I won't go into that tonight. We'll move on, but you can go back and look at it. But the digital displays showcase our young volunteers' own montages of video, telling their personal stories in unique and creative ways. Demonstrating the skills they have developed as part of the Volpower project, they use their own phone cameras to produce digital scrapbooks containing visual stories of their everyday experiences. The timelines of their video montages may be linear or non-linear, and in this sense, the young people are not just originating their own material, they are editing it to ascertain their own identities and visualizing their cultural routines and rhythms within their own vision. Our collage section has still to be uploaded here, but you can access a written collage blog within examples of our collage works via the main website. So this is where you can find all of the poetry that our fabulous Volpower volunteers wrote. And take some time to go through it all, because it really is exceptional. I have a few favourites in here. And if we go right down, we will come to the video montages that you can take time to go through all. So the volunteers created these with an app called 1 second a day, and they videoed 1 second each day of their lives, something they found important or not so important, because life isn't always about the exciting things. Sometimes it's about the sad things or the dull things. And then when we look back, we have a diary of a period of time in our lives. and these were really interesting to watch. And I think all of our volunteers had fun creating these. So this is our Volpower exhibition. I've been really delighted to show you all. I'm going to stop sharing now, because you'll be fed up with me talking. I hope you have enjoyed it as much as I have seen it, but as much as I have had creating it. It's been so much fun, but it's actually really delightful to see it all come together and see what our volunteers have produced and what the artists have done with them. Thank you all for being here and sitting with us through all of this. Marcus.
Thanks a lot, Maggie. And I think we had the technology gods on our side, because
yes,
nothing went too badly with the Zoom sharing.
Thank you.
So thanks, Maggie. And if anyone has any questions, they can type them in the chat, or any other comments they want to add. Then it's been really
raise their hand.
Good to read them in the chat while Maggie was going through.
Yeah, I need to have a chance to read all these.
Yeah.
If I say something, actually, I think this went beyond our dreams, Maggie and Marcus, when we were talking about this exhibition, and other colleagues for the past few months, maybe actually over a year now. Mm-hmm. It's also a memento of how life used to be before this mess that we entered last February, March onwards. I think not only that, it shows Volpower's story, but it also shows what we missed, what we took for granted in those years, in the past, and hopefully we'll be able to get back to those years sometime soon. But I mean, this really was tremendously successful. I mean, I'm honored to be part of the story myself, and I hope you also feel the same way. Now, for that, we decided to put aside some time for colleagues and friends to ask some questions, or to talk what they feel about it. It's been me, Maggie, and Marcus mostly speaking. And I would like to welcome any comments from the wider Volpower team, as well as our guests tonight. So now we have the stage.
Well, I don't have a question, Umut, but I just want to thank everybody that took part of this project. It is Andrea from South Tyrol team, Iraq team. Has been really engaging, complicated. It's crazy, complicated year, but thanks to our young guys, boys and girls that stick with us during this period, the commitment to our project, even we could not done what we were planning to do since the beginning, but I think it's been a great experience, and thanks again to the Umut and the Glasgow team for leading us in this experience. I don't have a question, just a congratulations comment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I forgot. And thanks to the project for making me discover the role of volunteering, which was something kind of new for me, and has been also really interesting.
Well, it's been actually new for all of us, I have to say. So we also learned a lot about it, during this project. Right. Is there anyone else?
Yeah, if I may, I would just add some words also from my side and from the groups of researchers that had the pleasure to work together with the volunteers and were inspired also. And thanks a lot to all the engagement from the volunteer side. At the same time, I also would like to thank the project team for being such a beautiful bunch of people that throughout this quite weird year showed always the good side of the things and a lot of faith and also positive thinking, and was kind of a a beautiful, contagious, in a positive sense, collaboration. So it was a nice journey to be on in many regards, as a person, as a researcher, as a member of project team. So many thanks also from my side.
Thank you, Eleanor. Thank you for all your hard work with your group of volunteers in South Tyrol, because they always came through and you worked so hard with them. I think you're just inspiring. Thank you.
Ursula, why don't you say something?
I'm quite touched still. So this was a really breathtaking experience, and it was also a journey during the past 2 years, through the past 2 years. And I think we cannot be grateful enough, of course, to everybody who has contributed to this exhibition, the Glasgow team, and most of all the volunteers. So this moment and looking at these videos and these pictures and everything reminded me of how much they engaged and how much they did and how much they contributed to the success of this project. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Ursula. I absolutely agree. The volunteers have been wonderful, really wonderful, and I think they are the stars of tonight, and this is a celebration of them.
Yeah, but I also would like to say that this was a true group effort. So this was the research on the one hand, and all these activities on the other hand, and you put it together also beautifully to show it to the public, to a wider public. So this is what really comes to my mind, is thinking about how this is a very, very exciting group effort. All these Volpower things. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ursula.
Can I say something, Maggie?
Yes, yes, Graham.
Graham here. And I have a colleague who says in English, there's no I in team. And I'm just kind of thinking about how asking people to write poems with I am led them to speak not just about themselves, but about the kind of wider group. And I'm just thinking about that. I think that's a really interesting thing, that if you ask people to say, you know, start a poem with I am, and they've ended up not just talking about themselves as individuals, but as groups. And I don't know whether you want to comment on that. I'm just trying to puzzle that out in my head, that when people say there's no I in team, that's not the message from this.
No, and I think we've had a conversation about this before, and I think it shows, I think when you ask someone to write a poem about I am, and actually what comes from that is not I, but we as a community, we as a whole, we as a society, and it really shows the interdependencies that are there within our communities, within our societies, within us all. And I think that's a really great example of that comes through in these poems. And I think if you look at that, if you listen to the words, if you read the words, that is what comes through, the connection between us all, that there's no I, it's we. So that I, the individual, actually becomes the we, the society, the community, the we, that's so important. Thank you, Graham.
Can I say a few words as well, Maggie?
Yes.
First of all, I would like to congratulate all participants, volunteers, and team members. I really enjoyed the idea very much. And I think in this 21st century, like UNESCO is doing LT programs, learning to live together, so tolerance against others, and through the third stage of globalization, I think individuals are coming together without knowing each other through the improvements in information communication technologies. So instead of dividing us through our skin colors, races, gender, and nationalities, even football team flag colors, it is so nice to see that someone is trying to unite us and trying to show us that we are all very similar, and this is what makes us humans. Thank you so much to all of you.
Thank you.
May I also ask our volunteering experts, actually, if you want to read, to say a few words about what they thought about well, I'm sure they liked it, but I mean, still, what they thought about the whole thing and then the whole Volpower story.
Oh,
Hi, thanks Umut for asking me to speak. I think as somebody who's been involved with volunteering for a long time, it's not surprised me that such amazing things have come out from volunteers. And I know, Umut, you said you maybe hadn't known as much about volunteers before, but Maggie, I still can't believe how all those things have come together. And I really would like to congratulate you and the artists, and especially the volunteers, because I've looked in detail at what the ones from Scotland had done, but not the ones from the other countries. So it's been a revelation tonight. So thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Fiona.
Oh, no problem.
Fiona, did you want to say anything else, something else?
Yeah, I mean, I think other people have said this, but in such difficult circumstances, I think you know, our volunteers have really shown what they can do in adversity. So would really like to thank them and all the teams that have worked with the volunteers as well, because all my colleagues, it's been a really tough year. So yeah, that's really what I wanted to add. Thanks, Umut.
Thank you, Fiona. I'm just reading a comment here that said, this is also what research should be about, learning beyond the expectations. Excellent work. And that's, I really like, because I like to think we're doing research a bit differently here with using the creative methods, and that's really important. So thank you, Melia.
Thanks. Does anyone else want to add anything?
And actually, I forgot, sorry, Umut, you know, I used to jump in. You know, actually, thanks to all the volunteering association that partner with us. I saw someone here for that, because I mean, they believe in the project and they decide to support the project. So actually, I want to thank the volunteering association and as volunteering in general, I guess. That's it.
Thank you very much. May I finally ask a question to Fulya, who is our web designer and who is the person actually who contributed a lot and to facilitate this evening, as well as our website, to say a few words about what she thought about the whole journey.
Well, I felt very lucky when I saw all of the videos, photos, and all of those volunteers' contributions and artist contributions all at once before everyone. So it was a really pre viewing for me. And I really enjoyed them all and really enjoyed to put them on the page and present them and prepare them for tonight. So I really like them all, and really congratulations for the result.
And thank you, Julia.
Much appreciated. Okay, I mean, if there's no one else who would like to contribute anything tonight, I'm going to call it off by thanking Maggie again, because we can't thank her enough for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. I feel overwhelmed.
Yeah, now you can relax.
Now I can relax.
All right, so colleagues, before I finish, I'd like to say that you will see this exhibition on our website, and please share it as widely as possible, because we'd like to open, obviously, more people beyond this 45 to 60 people who were online tonight. We have 2 more online activities before the end of this project. So we will be having one online academic workshop. And then we will also have a closing conference in June. So hopefully we will see you around again. You know, hopefully you will join us at other activities as well. And then we're hoping that the next 5 to 6 months of Volpower would be as creative, as stimulating as ever. And then we will be able to bring this project successfully to an end. And then we will just show our appreciation to the European Commission for supporting this project. And then we will also leave a book behind to our volunteers, as well as the associations who contributed to this project. And the book at the moment is edited by Maggie. So it will be a memento of Volpower for all of us. Thanks again, and good night.
Umut, can I just say that I've attached the URL to the website, so if you all take a note of it, then you can all go ahead and visit it. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Umut.
Take care.
Hasta la vista.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thanks. Enjoy the evening, night.
Everyone go.
Bye.
Bye. Good night.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.